6 seasons in a movie.
Woo!
All right, the Community movie is coming out. That's a thing that's coming to Peacock.
Oh my god.
The most unenthused. Wow, good for you. Thanks, champ. My name's John.
I'm Bob. He's Bi.
They're Butch.
And together we are the Butch and the Bi.
And this week, we watched a tale of overcoming womanhood.
A tale of blood fountains.
A tale of third-degree burns.
Self-inflicted, no less.
Yeah, no.
Well, okay, hers.
Oh, hers, yeah. His, no.
Yeah.
Those were non-consensual burns. We watched the original A Nightmare on Elm Street, which came out in 1984. But last year, when we intended to do this a little more closer together, we also watched the 2010 reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And we have thoughts today about those things. But first things first, Bob. It's spooky season. Look at all our spooky things. And by ours, I mean mostly mine. There's like 2 of your things in here, I think.
Yeah, there's a robot. I bought the little jack-o'-lantern.
There's a little cat over there. It's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all. I wanted to point that that's the self-promo this week is just look at our stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think our collection's complete? No?
No.
It feels like it's a horror show surrounding that movie right now, given all the white people that are angry. Speaking of white people that are angry, we watched Wes Craven's directed and written film, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I think it's one of the best horror movies. I think some of it holds up really well, and I think some of it doesn't hold up all that great. But I think there are many more good things about this movie. I also, controversial take in the horror community, this may be the episode that gets our podcast canceled, Bob. This will be it. This will be the episode. I'm actually quite fond of the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it is a fine movie. I think it's a decent horror movie. I think there are many, 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 many more awful horror movies and reboots specifically. I think it gets a little more hate than it deserves. I think it deserves some of the hate. I get that. But like, it gets trashed on in a way that I'm like, when's the last time you watched it? Like, because I think it holds up a little bit better than the original to a degree, from a technical perspective, which makes sense because it came out sooner. Which would you like to talk about first, Bob?
I don't know if I
Or we can just talk about the original and pepper and stuff about the reboot.
I feel like, yeah, that's the best bet. There's a certain era of older movies where the ADR just really takes me out of it. And that is, I'm sure I've mentioned before, but it's just really hard for me not to just be like, that's not them talking in that moment.
Yeah, they ADR the hell out of Freddy Krueger a lot in this movie. And then also a lot of characters are echoing his voice. And so it's just like, hello. Yeah, no, it's this movie. So this movie had a $57,000 special effects budget out of a $1.7 million budget in total. And the effects supervisor actually came on because he needed work. So he knew it was going to be an uphill climb. And I think given that fact, given how little of a budget that is in the 80s, they did some impressive visual effects and practical effects. And for the time, some visual, like, special effects as well. Yeah, it's definitely, though, it is a movie that is, it is an independent film. It's actually referred to as the film that saved New Line Cinemas. And it is also referred to as, New Line Cinemas is referred to as the house that Freddy built because of that. So that is why there are like 20 of these movies. And Freddy Krueger is such a cultural icon. Did you know he has a TV show?
What?
There is. If I never told you about the Nightmare on Elm Street TV show.
You might have, but also.
It's an anthology TV series where each week Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund, is hosting like Rod Sterling style
Yeah.
Twilight Zone show.
Yeah, no, you have mentioned this. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, it's a trip. I remember watching so much of it because every Halloween they would put it on like Sci-Fi or something. Like during the day, it was the thing that would run. Yeah, it's iconic, and maybe someday we'll watch some of those because I couldn't tell you. If I started watching an episode, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this one, or I don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, he is very culturally significant. But yeah, this
Which
movie
is fascinating as a child murderer.
Well, I think that's the thing about it is like it's a type of horror that is relatable to everyone kind of thing, because it's the combination of, oh no, he's a child killer, or depending on the version you're watching, the worst thing, which is nope, we're not going down that rabbit hole. But I think it's there's that part of it which makes it terrifying for adults, parents, right? But then I think too, a creature that can crawl around in your nightmares, and if you die in the nightmare, you die in real life kind of thing, is something that kids and adults can relate to. You know, I think that it is one of those characters that sort of retains that creepiness no matter how old you are. And I think too, in this first movie, he is at his like creepiest. He gets like more wacky as the movies go on, but like this is the movie where he is possibly just the most straight, like laced horror character. Wes Craven actually intended for him to be a silent killer type, like Freddy or like Jason and Myers and all of that stuff. But then they were like, nah, we're not gonna do that. But they didn't do anything with it in this one. There's not a lot of humor from Freddy Krueger in this first movie, and there's not all that much in the reboot either.
Yeah, no, there's a little bit, which is actually an interesting, like both the original and the reboot, I feel like there's some weird tonal stuff. He's in the way.
Yeah, he'll crawl around later.
Okay.
I'll just edit I'll do exactly what Cult of Chucky did, and I'll edit a PNG behind his wiggling. Cinematography, I guess.
But yeah, I know that there was a little bit of humor in the reboot, because I remember being like, that's interesting tonally, because that one I feel like is more, it's serious in the way that like newer horror, like there's just this era of movies is so interesting. Just eras of movies in general, just like the way tones change and like how things are treated, because you go back to like old black and white movies and you're like, this is a totally different type of acting.
Yeah.
But this is very much like, I feel it was always very creepy, and then he was actually there, and I was like, that's a silly man.
Yes.
Like the lead up to him, or like the things where he's not actually visible, was all like, oh, this is horrifying. Her fucking stepping in the steps and the steps melting. I was like, oh, that's horrifying. And the body being dragged. Like there's so much that's very scary, but as soon as you actually see him, I'm just like, that man looks silly.
Yeah, there's the fun scene. So there's the scene where Tina's in the alleyway. So this movie has a variety of characters, as many movies do. We have Heather Langenkamp playing Nancy Thompson, who Nancy Wheeler from Stranger Things is named after her. And she is our final girl for the movie. We also have Amanda Weiss is playing Tina. Would they say her name was Tina West or something? I don't know. They gave her last name. Whatever. Who, similar to Scream, is introduced as our main character final girl. This is everyone looks at Wes Craven's Scream and goes, ha, look, they did the thing where they make you think Drew Barrymore, the famous actor, is going to be playing the final girl for the whole movie, and then she gets, spoiler alert for Scream, which I think, have we talked about that one in here? Or no? We never got around to it. No, we did the Scream franchise.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, right around when the old one came out, or the new, whatever. Anyways, this one does a similar thing. And it also it introduces Johnny Depp. This is his first movie.
Wild.
Yeah, right. And then the Rod Saxon plays her father, who, honestly, those are the characters to me, and Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. Those are the characters to me that, like, stand out in this movie. The rest are kind of just there. The mom is especially not my favorite mom in film ever.
Yeah, she's a big alcoholic.
Like comically so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a wild degree. And very dismissive of her daughter. It's hard because we as people who have watched these things and know culturally are very much like, we would take that more seriously, but they're in it. They don't have their own story as a reference to be like, oh, maybe I should take. They don't know they're in a horror movie and that they should be taking their daughter who's saying that the nightmares are real serious.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these movies too. I think they do play off the teens as younger. Like they're teenagers, but they always treat them a bit more like children in the way that adults respond to them.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I don't think that they infantilize teenagers in a way that doesn't really happen all too much in this kind of way. Like, I think the responses that kids in these franchises get are very much more of like what you'd see like with maybe someone who's in middle school or younger kind of thing. But like your grown-ass daughter, your 16, 17-year-old daughter, old enough to know like, oh yeah, I'm experiencing something really weird. My dad is the town sheriff or whatever. He's captain, whatever.
I think something like that.
Chief. He's a cop.
Yeah.
But
you know what we say about cops.
Boink. It's funny, Freddy says that too. But yeah, they don't take her seriously. They don't take any of the kids seriously, which is the mistake.
If I was one of the adults involved, I would start taking her seriously 100% when she's like, something's going on at the prison, and they come and he's hung.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh,
second death. It's like,
yeah, no, I'd be like, oh no, that's, you were worried for his life and now he's dead. I don't know what's going on, but that's too much of a coincidence to actually be a coincidence. Yeah. So, yeah, that was.
And I think the people in Springwood also kind of fall under the same kind of people of Derry in the It series, where it's kind of like the adults kind of just get dumber as they get older kind of thing. Like they just start disassociating from everything. But no, Heather Langenkamp is carrying this movie on her back.
Oh yeah, she's so good. Like that was honestly just how hard she is playing this determined character really is what makes the movie for me. It's just like, yeah, she is this. I hadn't seen it much.
John Saxon is the actor of the father.
Okay.
Yeah. Continue.
I haven't seen it much outside of like parody stuff, but the girly run that these characters do when they're being, it's so this is why we have that joke, because I hadn't seen it actually, and it's so silly. It's like no one runs like that.
It's so common in 80s horror movies. It's shocking that Laurie Strode doesn't run like that. That's the thing, is there's not a lot of running in the Halloween movies. There's more of like jumping over couches and like through windows and shit. But like, yeah, no, the dainty like arm in the air, slowly running.
Arm in the air. Your legs are barely extending past a walk. You're not making distance. And I'm like, why are you not bolting? Like, you would probably hit into something and be slowed down the same amount. But like, it looks so. And that honestly makes sense for like dream sequences, because when you try to run in dreams, you're moving through jello. Yeah. But if it's real, if it's real, that should not be happening. Silly. But it was. Yeah, a lot of effects I really liked. Very good, very unsettling in a lot of things, and then I just see his face. I don't know if it's something about, he doesn't have the same presence on camera. That's like some like Michael Myers definitely is like, you see him and you're like, oh, he's gonna fuck me up.
Figure.
Yeah. And Freddy, what is it about him? He gets out there, he looks like a little guy. Like I feel the way he's shot or something. Or maybe it's just
and
like
he's a bit of an imp. I mean, if you were to look at him through the lens of like a fantasy setting or a D&D type thing, like he's very much an imp. He's very much some sort of demon, and he's a very, I mean, his target prey is children. It's people that are young. It's people that are innocent, and so it makes sense that his approach to it is to be the kind of comical gremlin. There's the scene in the I was talking about this in the alleyway after Tina wakes up and she's hearing things in the back alley. She goes out, and we get two interesting sequences out of this. The first one is actually one of the cooler effects of this movie, and how it's done is really cool. It's so the scene where he's got his arm stretched out across the entire alleyway, it's fishing poles in his sleeves. They'd stitched together sleeves that are that long, and they're just pulling it across as he's walking, kind of thing. And then they zoom in and do a close up on his hand. But right after that, when it turns back to Tina and her reaction, then back to him, he's like doing this little hobble, like goblin run, like you'd see from like a goblin in like RuneScape or something. Like, and I think that is part of it, because originally, so we hi, she half committed to the bit. Oh, you are digging in my thigh. Okay, that was not worth it, kitty. Oh. Our own little Freddy Krueger just beat the hell out of me. But I think so. Originally, Wes Craven had intended for his character to be the same way he was in the reboot. So that's something the reboot brought back into the fold. And in the 84 original, they made it so that he was just a child killer. It would make sense that he would be a bit more clownish, a little bit more goofy. There's that scene, they get back to the backyard after that chase sequence, and he hops out from behind the tree, and he's like, "Hey, Tina, look at this." And it's the one time in this movie he's actually funny. It's the only time in this one he's funny. In the other ones, they get some comedy writers, and that becomes a thing. But he like cuts his fingers off, and he's like, "Hey, look at this. Like, isn't this cool? Isn't this neat?" And it's very predatory of children kind of way. It's he's definitely one of the more like twisted when you think about it killers. All of them are twisted. If there's anything that the release of a specific Netflix TV series has revealed about, not revealed, but reminded us all of, is that some people are completely delusional when it comes to heinous crimes, and they think that it's fun. I love horror movies. I try not to watch too much true crime, but that Jeffrey Dahmer series has brought out some that flew over the cuckoo's nest. And yeah, it's just wild. But I think that's when you look into the character and his motives, I think the portrayal makes a little more sense.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And so John specifically wanted to show me these movies in this order to have me have an unclouded view of the reboot. And I think I still like the original better.
Fair. Okay. Interesting.
I feel like it has, as weird as it feels to me tonally at times, it has a lot of character and like something, it feels more visceral.
Gotcha.
In a lot of ways. Like, I think there's bright colors and stuff. There's that 80s horror movie vibe.
The corn syrup red.
Yeah, the things that you don't get in these newer things are like everything is the same shades of gray, and the most color you get is still just the red and green sweater.
Hey, reminder, that movie came out when sepia was the color correction style, where everything was a more bronze and orange. That's the thing. So I think if you were like, hey, which one do you want to watch? I'd be like, the original. There's more to look at. I've seen the original. This is probably about my 20th time watching it, to be honest. The reboot I've probably seen only 4 or 5 times. So I've definitely seen it less, and it's like you said, it's not the one I'd go to watch, but I do enjoy revisiting it every couple of years, because I do think. So one of the things it does, and one of the things it's criticized for heavily, is that it recreates a lot of the sequences from the original. It does the bathtub scene. It does when she's sleeping in bed and he's kind of creeping through the wall and it's stretching the wall. They revisit a lot of those iconic sequences when Tina's being dragged around on the ceiling, which they did use a lot of revolving rooms to achieve a lot of the effects, which is really great. And they did that, when the writers and when the director talk about that movie, they're talking about like, we wanted to do that to pay homage to the original, and a lot more people took it as you just plagiarize the original. And I think it was interesting to see what would those effects look like. And I think they do. Obviously, they're going to look better. No shit. But I do think that the character of Nancy in this one, in the original, has a lot more weight behind her. I think she's her and Sidney Prescott, and both are Wes Craven, so it makes sense that they would both be. But for me, they're the top two, like final girls, survival girls, like that whole trope. And this one, like especially, like it takes Sydney a couple movies to get the whole like, commando chick thing down, where she's got like a gun and she's like ready to go. But this movie, I mean, she's a teenager, she's lost everyone, and she booby traps the house Home Alone style to bring Freddy out into the real world. And I love that sequence of her setting it all up and kind of getting prepared for him. I mean, the only thing it was missing was the tying the bandana over her head like Gizmo and Gremlins. So yeah, I think it is, the original is definitely better. Absolutely. I was curious to see how it would play out, of like, which one would you prefer? So
yeah, I like things with personality, and it has a lot of personality. And yeah,
we will probably check out at some point a New Nightmare, because I've only ever watched the second Nightmare on Elm Street and New Nightmare and Freddy versus Jason and the reboot. I just haven't gone back and watched all of them because they're not good. Like, really, it becomes kind of like the Chucky thing, where the highlight becomes the killer and not the characters after a certain point. So it's like, but I do want to at some point. But yeah, no, I think New Nightmare is definitely like, in a similar way to how Curse of Chucky kind of returned the character to form, and like it's like, oh, this is scary. Like, this would be a scary situation to be in, not just like a doll making dick jokes. Like, it similar thing because of the premise of that movie, which is that it's the production cast of the original Nightmare on Elm Street being haunted by a demon that is Freddy Krueger, and not just like, it's a very good take on it. But yeah, what other highlights do you have about the original or about the reboot?
Oh man.
Which was your favorite special effect? So of the major special effects sequences, so there's the Johnny Depp's bed sequence. There is the sheet hanging the guy in the prison cell. There's the bathtub sequence. There's the fish, the long arm sequence. There's Tina's death on the ceiling, and there is the bedroom, like him looming into the wall. And I'll toss in her mother's death on that bed, because that thing's fucking wild.
It is very unsettling. I really do like the sheet, the way that they got the sheet to move felt very natural. It looked really good. I think Johnny Depp's death, though, like everything getting sucked in, it's just very like, oop, that boy got eat by the bed.
Yeah, that's another one where they used the rotating room to basically turn it upside down and just pump it was basically water and cornstarch and red food coloring into the room, and they had glued everything down. So like the phone on the desk, the receiver is glued to it. Like, it's all very set up. It's very good. Yeah, my favorite's still the bathtub sequence. I think there's just something so iconic about the hand coming up and going back down and then dragging her down. That's very good.
Yeah, I also liked when she was in the water, the like very small window that she was trying to reach up back to. It was very scary. As someone who loves water a lot, it's still extremely scary.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing, is I love water and I respect it and its ability to kill me. So just being like, you're underwater and there's a very small window where you could get back up into being able to breathe.
Yeah. It's Yeah, I'm excited to show you some of the other Freddy stuff, especially Freddy versus Jason, which you can't really see it here, but I have the horror clicks box for Freddy versus Jason. Here, let me move the Freddy Krueger pop fun. Ta-da. Anyways, yes, we do have trivia. So, Bob, do you have any other thoughts about these movies?
Not things I would have chosen to see, but I watched them, and
It's like 90% of the movies I show you.
That's a high estimate.
That's a fair estimate. It's a fair estimate. I would say that's 99.9%.
I think maybe 90.
Okay.
There are things we watch that I'm excited for.
Okay, like what? Anyways, trivia time. We got 3 for a loop. Okay, you ready, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got 7 questions.
Ooh.
Yes, for the 7 questions that I have here. There was no specific reason for that count. It's just what I came up with while we were watching the movie.
I saw you doing little research things.
A little weaseling.
Yeah.
So yes, okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. John Marshall High School is used as the iconic Springwood High School in this movie. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's great. And this is the worst thing to do this on.
You're on like Sheets.
Yeah, I'm on Google Sheets on my phone. But do you know which of the following classic 80s/90s movies also use this school as its location? Mm-hmm. And I have, it's multiple choice.
Yep.
Okay. Grease, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, Pretty in Pink, or all of the above? Is it a trick question or is it not? Who knows?
All of the above?
That is correct.
Hey!
Okay. See, that was easy. You got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Okay.
Just like iconic high school.
Yeah. And I originally thought Back to the Future was one of them. It is not the same high school as Back to the Future, but it has that same puke green painting all over the hallways and stuff.
Yes, classic from that era.
Yes. Heather Langenkamp beat out 200 other young actresses to play the role of Nancy Thompson. But out of the other auditioners, one would go on to be another horror franchise icon. So who do you think?
Okay, so someone who's also going for this role.
Mm-hmm. So someone who would have been around 17 to 21 in 84. And and when I say icon, I mean icon. So it's not like some obscure horror character.
Yeah. So who are... I mean, the only other 2 horror people I know are Sidney Prescott and Jimmy Lee Curtis. This is the only 2 I know.
You need a hint?
Sure.
So no one ever told you life was gonna be this way.
Jennifer Aniston? Oh,
Yeah, We're the Millers is a terrifying horror movie.
I want to see her try horror.
Oh, she'd be great. She's in that the morning show on Apple Plus, and she would be great in horror because she's great in drama. Yeah, she would be fantastic as like the awful mother of someone. Like, oh
yeah, she
plays mean well.
She could kill as the
she
jungle.
Could kill, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to move my face when I laughed. Oh, it's one of the other ones.
There's literally 3 women on that show.
No, what is the problem?
Think of horror movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Think of iconic horror movies. Hell, you said.
Sidney Prescott, the other dude.
Who's the other lady in those movies? She's in all of them. She's gonna be in the new one. She's the only original returning character.
Yeah, no, I know, and I can see her face, and my brain's like, you know what the name of this character and the actress is.
It's the thing I really enjoyed between relationships and during some relationships.
My brain has put a
Courtney Cox.
There we go.
Yep, there it is. There you go.
It's the problem is there's like a little group of women in my brain.
Ah, yes, the Little Women.
this whole group. I cannot.
Trivia game we were playing. But Bob's cat Squeaky, as he decided to be a little piece of shit.
She did.
Are we frozen on that? Oh no. Okay,
No,
we're moving. It's just
we're
hard
just
to see.
still.
Wow, we're having a day.
It's such a day.
Anyways.
At least we're not being chased by a killer. Squeaky likes to walk across keyboards. Part of the reason mine is on a little easel thing so that she cannot step on it.
Are you blaming me right now?
No, I'm saying that
Sounds like victim blaming.
No, I'm explaining the steps I have taken, which is it cannot lay flat because she will sit on it and she will turn on audio descriptions because she wants to know. She wants to hear a little robot voice say anything I'm hovering over.
Yeah. So hopefully we included the second episode. If not, the answer was Courtney Cox.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, which other actress that auditioned for the role of Nancy Thompson in the original Nightmare on Elm Street ended up becoming another horror icon in her own right?
My problem is in my brain. I get her mixed up with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
That's fair. Yeah, I get that. Oh my God. So there's never mind. We'll talk about this when Thunderbolts comes out in 2027 or whatever. Okay, you ready for question number 3 or 2?
Sure.
Great. They know. Okay. Hey, fun fact. We talked about it earlier. This film introduced Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
This is his first feature film. And apparently, that might not have been the case if it wasn't for Wes Craven's daughter. Why is that?
What, did you see his picture and say he's cute, he needs to be in the movie?
You're so close. It's a little bit more on the nose given the movie.
His daughter had a dream about it?
I'll give it to you. His daughter thought he was dreamy and was going to not talk to her father if he didn't cast her.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of pressure you need to put on your parents when they are famous artists.
Exactly. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the other films in this franchise, Robert Englund is credited in this movie in an unusual way.
Yeah, it's just Fred Krueger.
Yeah,
not Freddy.
Not Freddy.
I noticed that right away at the beginning.
He calls himself Freddy in this movie twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fred Krueger.
Mm-hmm. It's so strange.
Mm-hmm. Great. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. If I can use this. Scream, in case you don't know, that's Wes Craven's other hit horror franchise, has an Easter egg of a character who wears a red and green sweater whose name is also Fred. Which character is it?
Who's Fred? Is that the nerd? No. Oh, I do not remember.
It's in the first Scream movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to pull that up in the database of my brain. Look, that's Stu.
This is just an Easter egg character.
Just an Easter egg character. I don't know then. Unfortunately, the Easter eggs are not in my brain anymore.
It is Fred the janitor right before Henry Winkler is killed.
I believe you pointed that out to me.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Who plays Fred the janitor?
Robert Englund?
Nope, Wes Craven. Isn't that fun? It's one of his only acting roles. That and New Nightmare. And also, don't scream into the mic, please.
I'm sorry.
Okay. This is a question about the reboot. So get ready for that. Jack Earl Haley played Freddy Krueger in the 2010 reboot and was picked because of his role in an adaptation of one of Alan Moore's most popular comic books. Which comic book movie was this?
Oh, Watchmen?
Yep. Mm-hmm. There we go. Look, Bob knows things.
Yeah.
I locked my phone on that one. There's one more. Okay. Rick and Morty Season 1, Episode 2.
Scary Terry.
Yes. There you go. You got it.
What's up, bitch?
Bitch. Yeah, that's all in second movie on. That's like, I think it's in the third one or the fourth one. One of the lines is, "Welcome to primetime, bitch." And it's like him coming out of a TV and grabbing the person and shoving her head in. Yeah, no, yeah. There's some wacky fucking kills in the later movies. I've seen like the kill counts and stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, Kill Counts, the Dead Meat YouTube channel, they have a really great interview podcast episode with Headline Camp. She's the best. She's the bee's knees. And yeah, it's a very good episode. If you'd like more insight into what it was like working on the film and doing all that stuff, you can go watch them because they do horror stuff more often, all the time. And it's one of my more recent inspirations kind of thing. That has been the interesting thing of like the people I'm watching on YouTube right now are very much, it's not dissimilar to when I did YouTube back in ye olden times of like what my inspirations are. But
Yeah.
Bob,
John.
couple of fun notes. Next episode 110. Can you believe it? We're 110 next week.
And then the week after that, we're Bilbo Baggins.
Yep.
We get to have our party and disappear in the middle
We're
of...
called the Butch and the Bi, not Bilbo Baggins. Jesus, different bees. Yeah, no, we are having our good friend who has been on the podcast before, James Jameson, is going to join us, and we're going to watch Hocus Pocus 2, which we have not watched yet. So we're going to wait to watch it with our buddy. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. And then later next month, you can hang out with us and Katie Tarara as we watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So those are things that are coming up soon. You can also, if you would like to support the show, this is your last opportunity to fill out our listener survey and get to make us say a funny thing. So you can go find that link. It is on our website, it's at www.thebutchandtheby.com. That's A-N-D, not ampersand, because the internet does not like ampersands. You can go there and find all of the things like social media links, which it would be great if you could follow us on. But you can find our listener survey right at the top. It's a Google form survey. And just give us your input and what you've thought about the podcast, and specifically what you've thought about us since we've come back from episode 100. If you've been enjoying the video version, we'd love to hear it. I think not to toot my own horn, I think we're doing an okay job with it. As people that did 100 episodes of audio only and now have to deal with fun video editing. And by people, I mean me. I'm the people.
Yeah, I don't do any editing.
No,
I just have to remember that I'm looking at the
just
camera.
Keep your cat under control.
Yeah.
Can't even do that right.
No.
Yeesh.
I'm so
Oof.
sorry.
No, you're single.
Yeah.
I also did stand-up.
Yeah.
That was fun. I figured this is
You
a good
did so
opportunity to
good.
catch up. We're at the end of the episode, not the beginning.
Yeah.
And we raised $350 for, if I can remember the name of the foundation correctly. So it was to raise the Western PA branch of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. September was Suicide Prevention Month. Every month should be Suicide Prevention Month, but September, extra focus on it. But we raised $350 in total. A bunch of really great stand-ups in the city came out and did stuff. They're all very, very funny people. And yeah, I was.
You were one of them.
I was one of them, I guess. I was
did
originally going to
great.
be doing improv, and then found out I wasn't going to be doing improv.
So he wrote a set and performed it to me multiple times in a couple of days, and then he killed it on stage.
Yeah.
Despite being very nervous, because he's
Yes.
talented.
Gross. Anyways, that video should exist at some point, so I'll
Yeah.
probably share that out. I was proud of it. And Bob, what can they do to support you? And by you, I mean our rent.
You can find me at a smallfrogart.store if you want to just buy some stuff, or you can find me on Patreon if you want to toss me a few bucks every month, or just on Instagram and follow me and like and make comments to make the algorithm favor me.
Make comments about how you like their digital artwork and how you'd like to see more of it.
Yeah, if you want to buy an illustration, I can I am not AI. It will cost more than a few dollars, but I can make it look good.
They can. They did a photo of my dead grandpa. Anyways, did we say we had a good time watching A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Kind of. We
Just in case you missed it, the name of the podcast is A Good Time Watching now, and we had a good time watching A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's great. Bye.
Butch.
No.
No?
No, but what if there was a bit at the end and I wanted to
Savor it?
You savor it. You gotta savor the bits.
Mm-hmm.
It's like bacon. You gotta savor the bacon bits. Bob, have you ever considered savoring the bacon bits? There's so many bacon bits. Welcome to my nightmare. Bacon Bit.
I'm sorry, is Bacon Bit my nickname now?
No,
My pet name?
that's Bacon's nickname now. He's my little Bacon Bit. Oh my god. Hi, Bacon. How's it going?
Hi, Carl.
Carl.
Oh,
How's wrong? 6 seasons in a movie.
Woo!
All right, the Community movie is coming out. That's a thing that's coming to Peacock.
Oh my god.
The most unenthused. Wow, good for you. Thanks, champ.
I was not getting too emotionally involved in case you were making a joke.
No, why would I joke about something so important? Oh my god. Six seasons in a movie.
Woo!
All right, the Community movie is coming out. That's a thing that's coming to Peacock.
Oh my god.
The most unenthused. Wow, good for you. Thanks, champ.